Well, good evening, ladies. We are at the end of our series, the four-part series, which is the last one is walking out the rewired life, your identity, your habit, and your daily embodiment. Now you're living from the new mind. Okay. Let this old mind be, let this mind be in Christ, which is also let this new mind, let this mind be in Christ, which is also be in the Word, which is also in Christ Jesus. Um, so we're letting our new mind. We are daily. We are going to become the woman. We are walking as the woman. We are um, generating as the woman. We are populating as the woman. We are working as the woman. Our identity is the new person that we say we want to become. And what I'm learning is there was a quote that a young man had said, and he brought up the word future. And you guys know that I'm big on words. And so I think I did this definition before, but future is the time or period of fo- the time or a period of time following the moment of speaking or writing, time regarded as still to come. So when we are speaking our life into existence. We are speaking everything. So that's why when the word tells us to speak those things that be not as though they were, we are in the process of understanding that we are creating. So we are shifting and moving the DNA, the ethers. We are shifting and moving like time and space. So when we look at when God had said, "Let there be light," He spoke into the void and the emptiness, and there was nothing there, and He created in this emptiness. What part of your life right now that we've gone through the this four-part series, are you creating from now where you can look at yourself in the mirror and begin to speak life over yourself and begin to create from that place. And so when we talk about future, we talk about we are speaking into our life. We are speaking into a time or a period of time following this moment that we have spoken or written something down. That's why when we talk about writing your journals, writing your vision, writing what you want to do, where you want to be, and write it in the present tense because now you are creating from that space. So when we look at Genesis 1, where God had spoken, he said, and I know I'm saying Jesus and God, but when we talk about in the beginning, the first part of the word, where's what he created from nothingness. And it says, in the emptiness and the void he created. First, this God created the heavens and the earth, all you see, all you don't see. Earth was a soup of nothingness, a bottomless emptiness, an inky blackness. God's spirit brought it like a bird above the watery abyss. God spoke light, and light appeared. God saw the light was good and separated light from dark. God named the light day, and he named the dark night. It was evening, it was morning, day one. God spoke again, sky in the middle of the waters. Separate water from water. God made sky. We go to verse 9. God spoke, separate water beneath heaven and earth. So he's telling it specifically what it needs to do. We go again to verse 14. God spoke, lights, come on, shine in heaven's day, separate day from night. He spoke everything. Verse 20, he spoke again. He said, swarm, oceans with fish and life and all sea life. So when we're talking about living from this new mind, let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. Let this mind be in you, which is also in the word. When you're speaking your words are impacting you and it is changing the whole part of your life. In this emptiness and this inky blackness and this bottomless emptiness, in this place of nothing, you broad the heavens and you broad like a bird over your life and you begin to speak over your life. 4 weeks ago, a group of us, we made a decision. They showed up, not a hype session, not for inspiration, not the weeks to fade it, um, but to do the hardest kind of work there is. If you've watched this series, you have understood that this work is not easy. This work is not for the faint of heart. This work is not for those who will start again, stop again. This is consistency. When you are being consistent with yourself, you are showing up and you are telling yourself the true essence of who you are, that I want to change, that I want to have something different for my life. Want to be able to move in the existence of where I was into something new, into my future. So I'm speaking to my future in the space and time that I'm in. I'm speaking to the future. The work of looking at what we've been running, your mind, and deciding you are no longer willing to let it run your life. So tonight is the night we make it real. We have identified the lies. We have examined the stories. We have furnished the room with new thinking. Now, tonight, we walk it all the way out into your decisions, your relationships, your identity, your daily life. Tonight, it's not about what you are going to change. Tonight is about who you already are now that you've done the work. God spoke into this emptiness and he spoke to the thing and told it, let it be, let there be. Okay. Sorry, this is honor the journey before you close it. Okay. So session one was name the lie running the operating system. Session two was fire the narrator and rewrite your story. Session three, replace the old thinking with practice truth. And tonight we walk it out, live it daily, and become her. The arc in one sentence. We came in carrying the lies. We leave carrying the truth, what we've practiced, declared, and chosen. The rewire is not complete, it is established. Now we live from it. In Colossians chapter 3, verse 9 and 10 through 10, it says, do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices and have put on a new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator. I'm going to read it out of the Message Bible. Colossians 3, verses 9 through 10. Don't lie to one another. You're done with that old life. It's like a filthy set of ill-fitting clothes you've stripped off and put in the fire. You're now dressed in a wardrobe. Every time, every item of your new way of life is custom made by the Creator with his label on it. All the old fashioned are now obsolete. Words like Jewish and non Jewish, religious and irreligious, insider and outsider, uncivilized and unclothed. Sorry. Let's see. Testing, testing. Oh, it's still this. Sorry, I was saying it was disconnected. Um, from now on, everyone is defined by Christ. Everyone is included in Christ. So I'm going to read that again. Don't lie to one another. You're done with that old life. It's like a filthy set of ill-fitting clothes you've stripped off and put in the fire. Now you're dressed in a new wardrobe. Every item of your new way of life is custom made by the Creator with his label on it. All the old fashions are now obsolete. Okay. Everything that you have thought about yourself is obsolete. All the old way of thinking, all of the old lies that were told to you, it's no longer. Being renewed, present tense, ongoing, active, not was renewed, not will be renewed one day, is being renewed right now in this room. While you are in your room, while you are watching this, it is in this setting that you are being renewed in this season. And the woman you are becoming every time you choose the new mind over the old one. Four truths about living from the new mind. So we are going to start going into the truth. What is the truth about where you're going, why you're going, and what you're choosing? You choose every day. What I tell people is we are free moral agents. We get to choose the life that we are living. We get to choose who we want to be. We get to choose decisions. We make decisions. We get to choose the job. We get to choose the relationship. We are choosing to speak into a thing, into the future tense of ourselves in that present time and moment, and we get to change the how it looks, what it looks like, what it sounds like, and what it is. So point one is the new mind requires a new identity, not just new thoughts. So it means that you got to dress the way you say you want to, the woman that you are becoming. You have to talk that way. You have to um, identify as that woman. Um, if you remember when you were a little girl, you used to play dress up. That is what that's doing is you are becoming this new person. You are becoming the girl that you say you want to be. And so becoming that person means that you have to dress like her, talk like her, act like her. Um, and it's becoming that thing and you're putting it out there. You're putting the energy out there. The deepest level of rewiring is not about what you think, it's about who you believe you are because identity drives behaviors, and all I keep seeing when I'm talking about identity is I keep seeing your identification card. If you have your driver's license, that's what I'm seeing is that identifies you, who you are. And so on that ID, it gives you your date of birth, it gives you your state ID number, it gives you your height, your weight, your eye color. That's the identifying factors of who you are. So if you want to do, you look at the way I'm looking at it in the spirit and the way spirit is showing me, it's like you have this identification card in the spirit realm and he is giving you a new ID. So when we go through our birthdays, and this is what Spirit is saying to me. So when your birthday comes up, right, you have to go and renew your ID because it's expired, right? It expires on that date. So there's an expiration date here on this date that this is you're watching this video. The video it's you have your it's expired, and so now God is giving you a new one. When we're looking at Colossians 3 verses 9 through 10, everything that you have done, it is old. Okay, that ID is no longer in existence. And so here in where we live is they'll punch a hole in the old ID to let them know that this is no longer valid. That part of you is no longer valid. There's just, it's no longer, you cannot use it anymore. You can try to go to a store, but people are like, it's not a valid ID. So when you're looking at now what we're talking about in this present moment in this time, that old you is it's God has punched a hole in it and said it's no longer valid. You can't use that identity anymore at any place with your friends, that it just doesn't exist because now there's a new ID that I'm giving you and it's going to have my credentials, the credentials that I want you to have on this ID. Because the identity drives behaviors more powerfully than any decision, any resolution, any New Year's commitment you have ever made. When you see yourself as a woman of faith, power, and purpose, you don't have to talk yourself into acting like one. You simply do it. Have you ever gone through some changes and you go through these shifts and you realize, oh, that's just not me anymore? I used to smoke cigarettes years ago. And I did it because, I was around people when I was working corporate, and I'm still in corporate, but when I was working corporate, I would just go outside because I wanted to be around the people that I was with. So I took on this habit of smoking. And one day I just stopped. And someone asked me, "How did you do it?" And I was like, "Because I knew it wasn't me." When you drink a lot or when you're out in the streets, there's a lot of things that you just change. Your habits, behaviors, your identity, the way you used to do things change. And it's just like, because that's just not me. And so you simply do it because you just know it's not you. But when your identity is still anchored in the old self, the broken one, the overlooked one, the one who doesn't get to have good things, the new thoughts are just decorations. It's just like this little pretty fluff where you're just like, oh, I'm here, and you're putting on this identity, but it's on this foundation that's not really real. You're not authentic. You're not true to who you are. I know that me smoking a cigarette is probably, I'm a social smoker. And I admit I am a social smoker. I'm a social drinker. I don't drink at home all the time. But when I get around friends and I'm socializing, I will have a drink. And I may have a cigarette, but I do smoke cigars. So that's a part of me that I know to be true. So smoking every day, going to the store and buying a pack of cigarettes, is just not me. That I just don't, that's not who I am. I'm not a cheater, so I'm never going to cheat on a mate. That's just not who I am. And so when we talk about the new identity, I don't have to act like I don't smoke because it's just not who I am. I just don't do it. So the new thoughts are not, they're just decorations. So you don't want to decorate yourself and pretend like you're being something when you're not. The rewire must go all the way down into the identity. It's just what I tell you. We have to get to the root. We have to get to the core of who you are so that we can navigate through and become the person that we say we want to become. There may be a little residue of a little thoughty spice in you here and there, but we have to get to the root of it so that we can drive it out and we can become the person that we say we want to become. Not just what you think, who you are, who God says you are, who you have decided in this setting, in this room right now, over these 4 weeks, what you wanted to be. I remember I asked God to show me the woman that He sees me as, because I can be one way, but I want to be the woman that He says that I am. Show me who she is. Teach me how to act like her. Teach me how to dress like her. Teach me how to shop like her. Teach me how to eat like her. Teach me how to speak like her and show up and be articulate and have the vernacular and the verbiage of a woman that is the what he sees me as. Point number two is living from the new mind is the daily embodied choice, not a feeling. So here's what nobody tells you about transformation. The new mind does not feel natural at first. It feels like you're just pretending, like, oh, this is just not true. And you begin to say these things. Oh, that's not true. A part of you and your nervous system was going to tell you, oh, that's not true. You're not being real with yourself. Stop lying to yourself, girl. That's not who you are. But you have to say, this is who I am. You have to look at yourself daily in the mirror. Living from the new mind is a daily thing. It's an embodied choice. I embody the woman that I am. I am embodying the part of me that says, I want to go get my nails done. I want to get my toes done. I like getting my hair done. I want to get up every day and I want to be able to work out. I get up every day and I have to think, what would she do? What would this woman be doing right now? Would she be working out? Would she be, having a glass of wine? Would she be eating, healthier? Would she be working out? Who are the people that she talks to? Where does she go on a weekend? She's not club hopping, but where is she going? What is she doing? So embodying that, really putting yourself in that space. It's not how you feel. It's just really putting yourself in that in that body and saying, this is who I am. So like you are performing a version of yourself that really isn't you yet. And that feeling, it becomes it's uncomfortable. It really is. In the beginning, it's really uncomfortable because your nervous system is not aligned with what you're saying. And so your nervous system is going to talk you out of like, oh, well, no, that's not true. So it's the sense of unreality. It's not evidence that the rewire is working, isn't working. So it's that feeling is the rewire working because you are practicing a new way of being before it becomes automatic. This is embodiment. You act from the new mind before you fully feel it. You make the boundary before you feel confident. You say the declaration before you fully believe it. And over time, the feeling catches up to the choices. And so when you start to you feel that spiral, then you can start talking to yourself saying, no, you are a wealthy woman, or you are a woman of, you're a pristine woman, you're a woman of wealth, you're a woman of value, you're a woman of worth, you are a successful woman. So you catch yourself before that because it's just who you are. But you have to go first. Act from the new mind every single day and it will follow. What is her regimen? What does she do? Her daily regimen. When she wakes up in the morning, what is her skincare routine? What is her nightly routine? What does she do during the day? Who does she talk to? What are the TV shows does she watch? Does she watch podcasts? I'm getting into a point where I don't want to watch all of the negativity on TV, the reality TV. I want to watch something that's going to be able to effectively fill me up and where I can move and be the woman that I say I want to be. Learning every day. She's learning every day. She's putting something out there. Every day she's creating. Every day she's monetizing on something that she's created in her value and her worth. It's not like she's just sitting around and not doing anything, but she is actively working and doing, and I am embodying that part. I'm creating, I'm actively doing the things that this woman would do. Point three is the new mind shows up in your decisions, your boundaries, and your relationships. The proof of the rewire is not how you feel during a session. It is in the decision you make on a Wednesday afternoon when no one's watching and you're tired, and the old way would be so much easier for you to go back to the gossiping or the complaining or the what would I do? And, we're crying over exes, or we're not fully walking in our potential and we're letting our mother's words, catapult us into this place or keep us stagnant in this way of being. And the conversations that we have with our friends, or who are our friends, when we're doing those things in the relationships, are you holding the boundaries and letting people know, no, this is what I want because I deserve to have better. So it is in the conversations where you hold boundary instead of shrinking. It is in the opportunity where you say yes instead of talking yourself out of it with the lie that you've now identified. It is in the relationships you stop performing for because the new you simply doesn't need the validation anymore, because guess why? Every day you look in the mirror, you're validating yourself. I don't need anything from you. It's great to have friendships and relationships or whatever, but I talk to me every day. When we talk about David, David encouraged himself. David really validated himself. David didn't need anybody to tell him, "Oh God, David, you're an awesome king." David was like, "I know who I am. I'm a man after God's own heart because I've been this way from since get-go. This is who I was." So you don't need the validation. You don't need to be loud and boisterous and, out there and showy and, whatever. You're just this woman. You're comfortable in who you are because you know who you are. The new mind makes new moves, and those new moves will sometimes be uncomfortable. It'll be scary. It'll be something that it's new territory, new places that you've gone or that you're going into, new shopping habits, new patterns. Sometimes it may be lonely because it is. For me, it is sometimes there are lonely days that I have. Sometimes you're going to be misunderstood by people who knew the old you. They're so used to you being in this way. They're so used to you just allowing them to say whatever. They're so used to you being, you know, um, comfortably uncomfortable and allowing them to be in this space and calling you all hours of the night. I had to check a guy, I let him know, listen, anytime after 10 o'clock, I'm sleeping. We had the conversation, drafted it nicely, and sent a text message. I didn't mean it that way. I was up. I didn't, I just needed to talk to somebody, and that understandable, but I'm not up at that hour. So if you want to talk to me, you get me before. I'm here to listen. I'm here to whatever. But the new me is just there's, I have my boundaries now. I'm not looking for you to, just come over and do these little things or whatever. And friendships. Don't call me when, your other friends aren't around. You don't very check on me. So if you don't check on me, that's just what it is. I saw this quote on Pinterest that said, um, if you've won the lottery, call your friends. Don't tell anybody that you won, but call them and ask them for $500. And the ones that do give you the 500, that don't give you the 500 when you announce that you've won, then those are the ones that they know they shouldn't come to you and ask you for any money, right? So it's that point of don't call the people now and just talk to the ones and tell them, hey, I'm running a business. I got a sale going on. I'm going to be, selling some items and just wanted to see if, you would buy one from me. Or I'm going to be doing a vendor event or whatever. I would like to know if you would just help me out and refer some people to me or whatever it is that you're doing. See what those people do. And those people, when you get big, those are the people that they shouldn't come and ask you for anything. Okay. Um, this is not a sign you are wrong. This is a sign the rewire is real and is showing up in your life. People aren't going to like you just because. They're not going to like you because, oh, she's changing. Oh, she's got to, why is she talking like that? Why is she dressing like that? Because that's who I am. Point number 4 is you're not going back. Can't go back. There's no way in this world that I will go back to the old person that I was. This is the final thing I need you to receive tonight. Once you have seen the lie for what it is, once you have seen the red flag, once you have heard the narrative, once you have heard the conversation, once you have seen how people treat you, you cannot go back. Once you have examined your story and you have chosen a new narrator, once you have practiced the new thought long enough to feel it becoming true in your body, once you have seen and you have heard and you have acted on, you cannot go back to the old mind and pretend you don't know what you know. You cannot act like you don't know what you don't. You know. Awareness is irreversible. You know it. You see it. You heard it. You heard how they talk to you. You heard how they treat you. You've heard the things that they've said about you. You've heard it. You've seen their body language when you're talking. You've seen them kind of snicker and look at each other like, girl, you've seen it. You've seen the way he's treated you, where he don't talk to you and then he'll ghost you and then come back, he'll circle back because he's like, maybe she's changed, maybe she's back to the old person. You've seen the way your parents treat you or the people in your life, your family members. You've seen it. So please don't act like you didn't see it because it was what they did was true. It was 100% true. Awareness is irreversible. You have been in this room 4 times. Okay. You have done the work, you have written your declarations, and you've built bridges and named the lies out loud. You cannot unknow that. You cannot act like you didn't do this work. The only question now is whether you will honor it, whether the woman who showed up in this room and is watching this video will show up in her real life. Not perfectly, not without stumbling, not all at once, but consistently with intention and with conviction that you were made for more than you have been living. The woman, that woman right there is worth showing up for. Show up for her every freaking single day. 4 weeks ago, you walked in carrying beliefs that were not yours to carry, stories that were not yours to keep telling, a mind that had been shaped by pain, by hurt, by harm, by low self esteem, by low confidence, by everything that we have walked through in our life from the beginning of time up until current, by other people's voices, by inherited lies. But tonight, I want you to walk out different. I've always said this, like when you see a person that goes to church on a Sunday morning and They go in church one way, and you should be able to come out a different way, renewed, refreshed, revived, walking in purpose, walking in God's plan. Because in the midst of that service, there should have been this revelation or this change that has come over you. There's a song that even says that a change has come over me. There should have been some form of a transformation on that Sunday morning. You should come out different. But tonight, I really want you to walk out different. I want you to walk in one way and I want you to walk out another. I want you to walk out so different, not perfect, not finished, just different, polished, confident. Okay. The old mind has served its notice. You tonight, it's done. God said it's done. When he showed me that ID card, he said, I'm putting a hole in it and it's no longer valid. That old you is no longer valid in this setting on tonight. No longer valid. You no longer get to use that ID anymore. He's like, I've given you a new ID. A new mind is taking up residence. This is who I see you as. Your height, your weight, your eye color, your purpose, your plan, your life, your dreams, your goals. This is what's on that ID. The new mind is taking up residence, and the woman sitting in this room right now, the one who showed up, who did the work, who built the bridges and said the declarations and asked the hard questions. She is the proof that transformation is not a wish, it is a decision. You decide it, now live it for real. So, this is your final journey session of the rewire. I don't want you to rush it. And I tell people this, I don't want you to rush it. Don't be out there being performative and being like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. I want you to really be honest with yourself. I want you to go to the deepest part of yourself because what you write here is your contract. You are writing for yourself to move forward. Okay. So these are your journal prompts that you'll go through. Um, they're here for your benefit. Who am I? What does living from the new mind look like for me on a regular basis, on a regular day, like on a Tuesday morning? What is one decision the new mind version of me has been waiting for the old mind version to make? These are questions that you need to really ask yourself. Really get deep down, dive deep, and sit. You may not be able to answer the question right away, but just sit with it. 4 is the relationships you need to shift. A letter to your future self. Okay, writing this letter to your future self. And what did we say future was? The future was the time or a period of time following the moment of speaking or writing. I want you to, that's why I was always telling you guys to get like journals and the sticky notes, because when you see it, that's the vision. So I want you to write this letter to yourself and I want you to bring it back or put in the notes in the comment section what you did. These are your mindset prompts. Here's a little discussion that you can have with yourself that you can talk through. Um, ask yourself these questions in your journal as well. Okay. Final bridge from the old to the new identity. The old bridge is living differently feels fake, like I'm pretending to be someone I'm not yet. That bridge before you get there is the new mind feels unfamiliar at first. That's not fakeness, that's growth happening in real time. Your new identity says, I act from a new identity before it feels natural, because it's exactly how it becomes natural. Your old identity says, I had breakthroughs before and always gone back to the old ways. Your bridge is this time. I have tools, a practice, a community, and 4 weeks of proof I showed up. Your new identity says, I am a woman who does the daily practice. I don't go back. I am rewired. So this is where we start with your new identity. For the last time, I released the belief that I am blank. Bridge belief is I'm standing on what I know to be true right now is blank. Your new identity. I am a woman who blank. Here's your declaration. I walked into this series carrying lies I had mistaken for facts. I leave it knowing the difference. I walked in telling a story that kept me anchored in my past. I leave it with a new narrator and a new chapter. I walked in with a mind full of old furniture. I leave it full of truth, practice, spoken, chosen. I walked in as the woman I was. I leave as the woman I am becoming. I am not what happened to me. I am not the lie I believed the longest. I am not the story someone else wrote for me. I am a new creation. I am being renewed daily, actively, on purpose. I am living from the new mind. The old mind has served its notice. The new mind is taking up residence. I am rewired. I am renewed. I am not going back. For real. I want to thank you guys for showing up today. I want to thank you for watching and always being present and not being just present with me, but present with yourself, being real with yourself, being honest with yourself, showing up because that is what needs to happen. You are a woman of wealth, a woman of worth, a woman of potential, and I'm honored to be a part of that. So we will start a new series next week. So just put in the comment section how you're feeling, what you're feeling. And if you are looking for some coaching, you can always reach out to me and schedule a one-on-one. We can navigate through your processes, your procedures, what's not working, what is working. And I will be more than happy to help you in ministry and in coaching. So I look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday. And for now, good night and God bless.